Hi, and welcome to what will hopefully be my very first video on this here YouTube channel that I just created. Quick introduction, my name is Marine, I am 30 years old, I've been living in Japan for about 5 years now. So what I want to do with this channel is basically I want to talk about things that I love, and that includes tattoos, anything from maybe movies, horror movies in particular, just life in Japan in general. Maybe I am not quite sure yet, but mainly I think I will want to talk about tattoos and tattoos in Japan, and also what it is like to, live in Japan as a tattooed person and more of a tattooed foreigner. So hopefully I keep to it and I make more videos, and hopefully some people will find it interesting and follow me. So it's something that I've always had on my mind, but I never could quite gather the courage to start until I turned 30 and I thought, fuck it, I'll just do it. Okay, so just one quick thing. Obviously, as you can probably tell, English is not my first language. That would be French. I do speak Japanese as well, but if my English is ever not great, I do apologize, but at the same time I'm sure you can still understand me, so it'll be fine. I will make an effort to try and talk somewhat intelligibly. So here we go. Also, this apartment that I'm here, that I am in currently, my window is just above a fairly busy street, and then there's a park as well with children screaming most of the time. It's been fairly quiet today, not sure why. I'm not sure what my mic will or won't pick up, but just in case, just thought I'd let you know. I will be moving, however, fairly soon, just in about 2 weeks. Kind of freaking out, that's fine, but I will have more space, so hopefully that will also help, because right now my setup is not the best. Anyway, so for this first video I wanted to talk about something that is relating to tattoo in Japan in general, which is the trials that took place in Osaka a few years ago. So they spanned over 2 years, and basically the ruling was to decide if tattooing will become illegal or not without a medical license. So basically, if tattoo artists were to tattoo people with no medical license, it would become illegal. As you may know, I think that is the situation in Korea at the moment, where if you don't have a medical license, you shouldn't be allowed to tattoo. Like, basically it makes tattoo pretty much illegal. I'm not sure how enforced it is right now, but technically it's illegal, and basically the authorities in Japan, or I guess in Osaka, wanted to make the situation the same here in Japan. So for some reason, Osaka, even more so than the rest of Japan, has always had some issues. Like, the government in Osaka has always had some issue with tattoo. There was this one time, I kind of want to make a video about it, but I'm not sure there will be enough content to make a whole video about it. But there was this one time a few years ago where they actually fired a few people from government jobs because they had tattoos. Because what they said was, if you work for the government, your body doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the country, and so you shouldn't be able to tattoo it, and they fired a bunch of people. That did not go over really well. So yeah, for some reason, I don't know if it's just that they're more openly aggressive towards tattoos, but yeah, most of the kind of stories that I'm about to tell you that we do hear about come from Osaka for some reason. I am not sure why. Right, so Matada Taiki, well, he goes by Taiki. He's a tattoo artist, and he's originally from Osaka. So it's in the Kansai, the Kinki region of Japan. No, not Kinki as in Taiki. It's what it's called. But a lot of people do call it Kansai, so it's pretty much interchangeable as far as I know. So he is 32 years old, and as of now he still works in a tattoo shop in the center of Osaka. So what got him in trouble with the law at first was in 2011. Back then he had his own studio in a tiny apartment that he rented expressly to use it as a studio. That is a thing that was done a lot before, not as much today. Today you see more and more like really open tattoo studios, like the just normal, like with a shop window, like you would see in Europe or in anywhere else in the world. But back then it was pretty common to just rent a house or a small apartment, and then you would kind of have to know about it or find them on Instagram and then message them, or you had to know someone who knew about them, and it was a whole thing. But lately it's been more open, I feel. So yeah, back then he had this small studio, and what happened was the police kind of showed up one day and raided his studio. Now the reason that they raided his studio was because they found his name in the list of customers that a pharmacy was using. Basically he was getting his supplies from this pharmacy, and this pharmacy got accused of illegal practices, which was that they were selling some drugs that were they were selling those drugs online, whereas according to Japanese law they should have sold those drugs in person only in the shop. And that's why the police tracked them down, and then they saw their list of customers, and in there they saw, tattoo artist, better go check it out. So they searched his studio for anything they could find that would be illegal to kind of get him. And basically the excuse that they had for this search was a 2001 law that was passed by the Ministry of Health, Labour and Welfare regarding acts of hair removal and other aesthetic practices by people who did not carry a medical license. It was primarily targeting at first beauty salons, like laser hair removal establishments, or like eyebrow microblading. It's pretty hard to say. Eyebrow microblading. And basically in the text of this law was the phrase, "The act of inserting pigments into the skin with a needle requires a medical license." So that is what they used to as an excuse to search his apartments for anything, his studio, I guess, for anything illegal. So they pretty much took advantage of this law in the past as well to arrest other tattoo artists, although thanks to this law, in a way, they kind of arrested, they kind of put a stop to a few tattoo establishments that were linked with the Yakuza. So after a while, though, they just pretty much used it to go against any tattoo artists that they wanted, in a way. So that is why Taiki got sucked into this. While of course he had no affiliation with the Yakuza, he even had clients sign a discharge paper that stated that they have that they're not part, or they had no relation in organized crime, but still he used the wrong pharmacy, and that is what got the police in his studio that day. That is what led to the first trial, because the result of the search was that the police was able to accuse him of tattooing 3 people over the span of 3 years without a medical license. So that is how they got him. So after the first trial, he didn't quite have the backing that he had for the second trial, spoiler alert. So he was found guilty, and he was fined, what is it? I'm not good with reading big numbers. 300,000 yen. He was fined. That for some reason got reduced to 150,000 yen, and so that was all in September 2017. So 150,000 yen is not that huge of a sum of money, It's about $1,400 Google tells me. So he could have definitely paid the fine and just, went on his way. But he decided for the principle that he was going to fight this decision, and he was going to file an appeal. And so he appealed the judgment because, he wanted to show that tattooing is an art and not a medical act. And that leads us to the second trial. According to Japanese government, all the tattoo artists should be holding a medical license to practice tattooing. So what that entails is at least 6 years of medical school and then passing the famously difficult national examination for medical practitioners. So basically, Taiki, what he wanted to do with this appeal was change Japan's view on tattoos because, and I quote what I saw in the article, if we keep on ignoring the issue, tattooing could be outlawed entirely, and it could completely just go underground in Japan, which would only make people see it in an even worse light than they already do. Basically, he wants tattooing to become a profession that anyone could be proud to practice. Because, for the longest time, tattoos here in Japan have been seen in a bad light because of their association with the Yakuza, so the organized crime, and also with any kind of criminals. Even though lately it's been seen more and more as a fashion statement, especially by the newer generations, that they see it for what it is, just art that you put on your skin. If you like it or not, that's basically up to you, but it doesn't, for older generations, it still has this only criminals get tattooed kind of image, but the younger generations don't quite have that as much. Tattoos do still have a really bad image in Japanese society overall. It still has a stigma to it. Being tattooed, the jobs that you can do will be very limited. Like the tattoo removal business is really big over here. They don't just have laser, they have a bunch of different ways to get rid of tattoos. Some are quite violent. I might make more videos about this, more in details in the future, but just know that it's not always easy to be tattooed here in Japan. Especially, myself, I don't consider myself heavily tattooed, but for most people, I guess I would be pretty heavily tattooed, although I've been kind of keeping it in areas that I don't quite show all the time, like my back or my thighs. I have a big jellyfish here, all the way to my thigh, but it's areas that are not shown to the public a lot. Obviously, I don't just run out naked, but I guess here in Japan I'm very heavily tattooed. So the looks that you do get when you're tattooed here is something. At one point you kind of get used to it, but then sometimes I will, just wear long trousers for a while, and then when I go back outside in shorts in the summer, like people's eyes on my legs will be piercing. So yeah, not the greatest experience to be tattooed in Japanese society at the moment, but it is better than it was a few years ago. So things are changing slowly, but they are changing. So back on subject, for his second trial, so Taiki and his legal team, they started a crowdfunding effort basically to try and get money to get better defense. So they requested help from tattoo artists and tattoo enthusiasts around the world to help them in the legal battle. So they created as well Safe Tattooing in Japan, which is a website, or they had a Facebook page. I think at the time I remember liking the Facebook page when it showed up on my feed. So they started this website to inform people of the status of tattooing in Japan. Like, this issue could affect the whole of the industry here in Japan. It's not just a small incident in Osaka, it could affect the whole, the whole industry. So this crowdfunding effort was really successful, and it got Taiki and his team over 3 million yen. So that's about 27,000 US dollars or so, Google tells me. And of course it helped them greatly with their case. And the verdict dropped on November 14th, 2018. And the verdict was not guilty. Tattoo artists do not need medical licenses to tattoo in Japan. So quoting the member of the courts in the final verdict, tattooers and the tattoo industry have always been independent from the medical industry, and this is still true nowadays. Thinking that only doctors should be able to tattoo goes against common sense. The judge added, though, that basically the act of tattooing does involve inflicting an injury to the skin of someone else, and that, depending on what may happen, it could be considered assault and bodily harm. Basically, I think what they meant by that, let me try and catch my breath. Basically, I think what they meant by that is that in case, if a tattoo does not go well, and let's say the client is pissed and he wants to sue the tattoo artists, it could not go well for the tattoo artist because it could still be considered bodily harm. So he wanted to, I guess, make it clear that it could still be not a good situation in court. And yeah, not guilty. So that was a video. Hopefully, if I can, get to editing it and make it so that I like it enough and I have the courage to put it online, hopefully you will be able to see it at some point. So for myself, I have, as I said, I've lived in Japan for about 5 years, and I'm what would be considered pretty heavily tattooed here. What I think as a tattoo enthusiast is that the industry could probably do with more regulation here in Japan to kind of establish it as a proper profession, like in Europe or the US or wherever else in the world. While of course medical license is kind of ridiculous, hygiene training could be a good way to start that. Here in Japan they have these courses that you can take where you listen to lessons for a couple days, and then you have a test, and then you can become a health officer or any other qualifications to be able to open a public studio, tattoo studio. I think it would do a lot to improve the image that tattoos have here. It could also reassure people who might want to get tattoos but are scared away by the scary, unhygienic image that it does unfortunately still have. So yeah, that was a video about the trials that could have made tattooing here in Japan illegal, but fortunately, did not succeed, and you can still tattoo. You can still get tattoos here, otherwise I would be so unhappy. I haven't gotten a tattoo in about a year now. Hopefully end of this month, after I've moved, if I still have a bit of money left, I will. If I still have a bit of money left, I will probably go and get a tattoo, and maybe if I can get some good video, I could try and make another video about it. So we'll see. So thank you for watching. And if you might be interested in what other content I may make in the future, maybe if you feel like maybe you might be interested, then please do follow me, subscribe, I guess, and I'll see you next time. Can you see Baby Yoda behind me? Because I want to be able to see. Okay, you can see Baby Yoda behind me. Right, let's do this.